Administration Committee. It's 1 p.m. on Monday, April the 6th. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And acknowledge that the press and public have been duly notified in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act. I think first order of business are citizens' comments. Do we have them? Not today? Okay. Moving on to approval of the previous meeting minutes. Anybody want to-
Motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, on to old business, and I'm looking forward to this discussion and consideration of recommendations today. I'd first like to acknowledge, I think it's been a journey to get to where we are, and I'm hoping that these recommendations that come out of the committee here, they'll be put forth to the Ways and Means and then to the City Council for approval. And I think we're trying to stay on track for the April City Council meeting for the final review, and then that gets us into the finalized budget cycle, and then for implementation sometime thereafter. I'd like to thank the staff, Evergreen, and other participants throughout this process. I think we've gotten to a good starting point. And I think that what we're hopefully going to recommend here, it's just the start of what I would call maybe a structural shift in the whole compensation structures by adding components that we've not had previously, by recalibrating so that we're more competitive. And then I think also we talked about sustainability. I think some of the things that we're going to be talking about in here will help us with a sustainable plan. It's not going to be the end all, but I think it's going to give us a good solid foundation to keep working off during the course of the year. I know there's been some conversation about continuing these discussions through the course of the year so that we may even, evaluate other, ways to go about the pay practice as well. I will say that, Evergreen, I think, has been helping us immensely over the last several meetings that we've had, and have introduced us to some best practices that they've seen amongst other municipalities or even in private and public sector. And I think we're going to try to bake some of these into our compensation programs going forward. So with that, I just want to get started, and what I would suggest, and if everybody's agreeable, we can just kind of go down the list here. And I would say all of these components are going to be individual legs of a big, hopefully, platform for the pay structure. And I can introduce maybe a motion, and then we can have the discussion around them, and we can either take them one at a time or holistically together if that works. All right. If everybody's okay with that approach, let's talk about the market adjustment for public safety, general, and administration. And I move to implement a base pay market adjustment for the IOP first responders, general and administrative employees with the following parameters and pay ranges for each position as reflected in the most recently reviewed solution file, which is IOP 033026. And I think all the committee members have that, and I think the staff does as well. The first component of that would be to adjust fire starting pay to $54,000 and police starting pay to $60,000. These increases will flow through all the respective steps of both pay structures. The base pay budget increase for this adjustment will be $245,000. And Sean, I can give you a copy of these in writing so that you don't have to transcribe. The second component of that effort would be to adjust the starting pay for general employee categories to $41,600 and adjust the starting pay for administrative employees to $82,700. These increases will flow through the respective grades of both pay structures. The base pay budget increase for this adjustment will be $172,000 using the discounted range penetration adjustment. The third component of this will be to adjust the police chief base pay to parity with the fire chief, so both chiefs will be on the same pay scale and pay grade. And the fourth component would be to include 4 organizational job classification changes to increase the deputy police/fire chiefs, the short-term rental coordinator, the business license representative, and the stormwater facilities foreman positions to new grades. Why don't I start with that and see if there's any conversation or discussion on that?
Was that in form of a motion?
That was a motion.
Second.
So for the people watching at home, all that technical language sounded great and very impressive. But I think what I'd like to know and what the people would like to know, you started out with base base pay raise for beginning policemen and firemen, which I agree with, what's going to happen to everybody else?
That was also in the motion, Jimmy.
I said, what's going to happen to them? I mean, I'd like to hear it in like just clear
It's all,
language.
it's all in the packet. I mean, you should be able to explain it if you read the packet. You should
I read the
explain it.
packet, I read the packet, but I'm asking for the people at home, what does it mean?
But you should be able to explain that, shouldn't you?
Well, are we keeping up with the percentiles? I don't see that,
I
and,
think you should look in the files that we've had, because all the percentiles are in there as well, Jimmy.
I'm looking, through the files right now, I looked at them through this weekend,
Okay?
and I see where the percentiles for the beginners are 80 to 90%. But I'd like to hear from the chairman, what your thoughts are.
You said exactly what we did. We're positioning these jobs and these classifications to be competitive. That's exactly what we're talking
What
about.
percentiles
80th to 90th.
for everyone?
No, not all of these positions.
See, this is what I'm trying to get to.
Well, then you can certainly represent what you've read.
Well, I don't see percentiles in the 80 to 90% for other employees except for a beginner.
And they may not all be there
They may not all be there.
at the
So-
80th to 90th percentile.
Right, and so, I see the incentives and I see the flow charts for, management. And I see, a couple of the charts about, what incentives would be for other people, but I don't see anything except
We're
on the
getting to
front.
that in the next several bullets.
Right, and what I'm trying to get to, I'd like to focus my questions on, are we raising the percentiles across the low country to be competitive?
Absolutely. We
But-
believe that
but-
to be true, and that was a team effort with the staff and with Evergreen, and we're at a very competitive place, and for the first responders, we're above 80 and above the 80th percentile
All of them,
in the first responders.
first responders, all of the first responders?
Yes, that's my understanding.
No matter how long they've been here?
Well, we're going to get to that. That's another component, if you would read the material.
I've read it.
Okay, so we're going to get to that.
Okay,
Okay.
let's go.
Well, we're on this particular motion.
Okay,
Do you want to, certainly can call the vote.
We can call the question if you're ready.
I'd just like a straight answer. It's just like, what's going to happen to the mid-range people and the
Jimmy, it's
upper level?
all in the
It's-
file.
I've
It's
read
all there.
I've read
It's
all of
It's
it.
all in front of you. It's been in front of you for weeks now.
I don't
And
see
I
it.
think that we've got to, what I'd like to do, can we just kind of maybe stick to the agenda and try to get these components in place, and then certainly we can have the discussion, but you're asking questions to somebody that should be, the questions are coming from somebody who should be answering the questions.
Well, I see the incentive amount. I see the implementation, just generally, what's going to mean for as the range penetration and the step-to-step for public safety and general admin. I see operational flow charts. But my question is, I know you don't like the question, but the question is, what does it mean for
It's-
the rank and file? I mean, as far as dollar amounts go.
It's a base pay, it's $245,000 for the first responders, just for this component. And it's $172,000 for the general and administrative organizations.
So how does that break down to each individual employee?
It's in the file.
It's in the
I'm
packet.
looking at it right here. Where is
I'm
it?
not going to announce everybody's increase here on the tape here, if that's okay.
It's
Because,
just a little.
because by the way, this is the first pass, this is going to go to Ways and Means. We've got another file in the queue that may update these numbers, because we had some issues with the classification of certain employees, and that's in your file as well. So we're going to try to make sure, one, we also discovered people that weren't even in the file. So we put the people in the file. We're going to make sure that all of their pay grades are accurate. We're going to make sure that their starting pay is accurate. We're putting it into the model that Evergreen has provided, that the staff has blessed off on, and that we've blessed off on, and that we all have, and it's right in front of you. It's already in front of you.
It's right in front of me. It's right in front of me. Each individual person, like, I'm just,
Each individual
I'm
person's.
not trying to be difficult. I'm saying, if I'm here and I'm in the 60th percentile, and I've been here for 10 years, and I'm in a first responder, am I going to move up to that 80 to 90 percentile?
I think yes, and I think you have to look at the file, Jimmy. It's
I'm
right
looking
there
at the-
in front of
I've told you-
I'm not going to go through every single person's pay on tape here because it's going to be subject to change, it's going to be subject to approval. And we're also providing the fire and the police with a budget amount so that if they want to do some redistribution, we're not being prescriptive as council. We're setting policy and we're giving parameters so that they can define and align and allocate how they see fit within those budget parameters.
So Jimmy, what has helped me is, under the cost summary,
Uh-huh.
and then the basis for all that is in each of the databases.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay,
I mean,
well, that's
yeah.
where you'll see all those steps and changes.
I don't see what it's going to mean for a regular rank and file fireman or policeman that's been here a while. I don't see that specifically. And
But
I'm
we're
through.
happy
That's all I have
to
to
walk
say.
you through the model after the meeting if that would be helpful.
No,
to you.
I want to do it in the meeting. But that's okay. I've had my piece. I appreciate y'all listening to me.
Okay.
I don't have enough specifics right now.
I just don't think we can go through the specifics in this meeting with this file.
It's just a really simple question. Is like everybody moving up to the 80th and 90th percentile? Or is it just the beginning, the starting workers? It's just,
The
it's not that complicated.
The allocated dollars for the first responders, we're setting it into the 80th percentile. Now, how chiefs decide how they're going to allocate these budget dollars, we're not going to be prescriptive on a person-by-person basis. So I think we've given, and the motion here is to provide the tools so that the management can implement, which is very typical, how this usually is handled. So this is a very, I think, gives folks the tools in the budget to be able to allocate the dollars appropriately how they see fit.
That was a very clear answer, and thank you very much, because you're saying that they are, in fact, first responders are going to be in the 80th to the 90th percentile, and
Yeah, they're
the
going to be
chiefs,
above, the budget is
all-
above the 80th.
all of them,
There's enough money there to put them into that percentage.
everyone. There's enough money to do that.
Well, we do have some caps on some folks.
Yeah, well, no, that's an incentives and stuff that comes along.
No, they're actual caps, Jimmy. They're caps on, and it depends on,
So it's
Yeah.
capped, it's something capped below the 80%,
no, it's a cap on an increase.
cap on an increase. And so as far as going to what
Jimmy,
other
again,
municipalities are paying.
It's in your, it's in
I've
your
read it. I
material.
mean, you've told me that 10 times. I've read everything, all of it. I've been messing around with accounting for 40 years. I understand it. But I just, trying to give the people, the questions I get all the time, are we going to really help out our first responders, especially all of our city employees, but especially our first responders, to make sure that they have a decent standard of living instead of having to worry about jumping from job to job. That's all I'm asking. Do you think this does that?
Absolutely. I think this is a great pillar for multiple ways to earn compensation for people who are in the job and want to progress.
Well, I wouldn't do anything as crass as put the fire chief or the police chief on the spot. I'm not going to ask them. But I was just looking for some leadership from the chair and the vice chair on this issue. I think we all understand what the real question is. I'm just trying to find out if it's being answered. That's all.
Well, I guess my point, Councilman, is that you have all the data. You should be able to answer that question yourself.
Not with this data, not that I have right here.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
All right, let's go on to the next one, the public safety incentive plans. I move to implement an incentive program for both the police and fire departments created by their leadership and to be implemented and monitored during the coming fiscal year. These plans will be fine-tuned by the Public Safety Committee and leadership. This will be an incremental pay program above the one that we just approved here to the base pay adjustment, and the budget for the base pay increases associated with these incentive plans will be $150,000.
Second. I have a question.
Sure.
and it's on these incentives. Great job, by the way, in laying this out. But on the bilingual, the police and fire are different. Is there a reason for that, or? It's not by much, I'm just curious as to.
I couldn't put my bilingual higher than I put some of these certifications that are required for us to be able to maintain our certification every year. So I felt that it needed to be at least at
lower.
the same. That's why it's lower than.
I mean, it's in the ballpark, it just stuck out at me, that's
Yes,
all,
ma'am.
I was just curious. All right.
Yeah, there were numerous iterations of the spreadsheet as we worked through it.
Okay,
So, yes, when we had the specific amount of budget dollars allocated, we were trying to make it, the categories and trying to line it up as easily as we could. But
Okay.
with the cap on the amount of money, we were, trying to put them where it would be.
Understand.
Yeah, where it would work.
okay.
Because we're similar in so many respects, but a couple, obviously different, so.
Well, I think this is great. I think it's about time, and yay, so kudos for putting it together.
Isn't this this has been a big missing component from
Yeah.
what I've understood. I think all of the feedback we got from you all was that the surrounding communities have this piece, we haven't had this piece for years. And this will be hopefully helpful in recruiting and retention.
Yes, sir. I think this is I think I can speak for both of us that I think this is a great step and something that is very much needed, and we are very appreciative of the committee putting this together for us.
Thank you for all the
Great.
work. Yeah. Any more discussion?
Yeah?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Let's go to the third component, which is the annual CPI adjustment for wage bands. And just a little background here, I think going through this process, we discovered that our wage bands had not been adjusted, which has been sort of stranding our recruiting process. So for example, if we had a pay band that was in the $49,000 or $50,000 range, over the past 2 years, those pay bands have not increased with the CPI, so that we have been disadvantaged where our initial pay recruits were at a static 2-year-old offer when our peers and competitors have been adjusting theirs upward. So we're proposing that we change that process. So I'd like to move to increase job pay grades / scales annually at the beginning of each fiscal year based on a Bureau of Labor Statistics published and recognized CPI metric, such as the CPI-U South. And that metric be used also for budgeting increases in the annual budgeting process with a maximum of 4% and a minimum 1% limits starting with fiscal year 2027. And I will say this is another one where I think Evergreen was very helpful in giving us advice and letting us know what's been going on with the other municipalities. I think, again, that was very helpful on this one and some of the other ones going forward.
Just to clarify, the city has historically done this. We've kind of gone back and forth about whether it's happened consistently or not. It has not happened when we, when we did a wage study. It was considered to be part of the wage study, and those adjustments were rolled into that. It also has not happened if there was not a cost of living allowance in the annual budget. But in situations, in years where there was not a wage study and there was a COLA, the bands were increased, which is, I think, similar to what's being proposed. And we'd be it should be formalized, kind of put in a policy, giving guidance into the future. But it has happened in the past. It's just been hit or miss in terms of exactly when it happened and if it happened. So this will be helpful, but it has happened.
So you're saying that historically, we have based it on the CPI-U that he's
The-
talking about?
Well, so historically, we have adjusted the ranges when there has
Okay.
been a cost of living adjustment in that year's budget.
You was talking about Justin.
There's not always a cost of living adjustment in the budget, so we haven't always adjusted the ranges. It also didn't happen when there was a brand-new wage study.
Wage study. Yeah,
So
and
the
that's-
wage study would do it, or a cost of living allowance would do it, but if neither of those happened, then we would not adjust the bands.
Yeah, and so actually, this should probably say fiscal year 2028, because we are going to adjust.
Yes.
If our target is for July 1st here. So I'll amend that. I'll amend the motion to the 2028. Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll happen with the way, with this adjustment, they will be adjusted, and then the next go-round, they would also be adjusted based on the COLA, which is recommended to be the CPI U South. And I don't know if that's different than the Southeast. I know we talked about the Southeast.
Well, we can,
That's two
we can
different-
we can
Yeah.
validate that. Yeah. And again, this came right out of, I think, with the Evergreen recommendations.
Does this have anything to do with or not to do with merit increases?
They're different, Jenny. This is associated with the pay scale, so they're.
I understand
they're-
that.
They're completely decoupled. So what happens is that regardless of what happens, there'll be a minimum one, like you said, there were no years unless there was some special event that overrode it. There would be a minimum 1 to 4 based on that metric. Now, merit and CPI are totally different.
But merit's, it's still into play.
That's a council decision, yeah, what the budget for merit is going to be.
But it's not in this. No, it's
No, and
just
this,
just
it wouldn't,
CPI.
it wouldn't be, no, it's not in this. CPI and merit are two
I
different.
understand, I know what they are. I
So
do.
no, it's not in here.
This study did not adjust merit, that, they left that up to council each year?
Well, for us to be doing the base pay adjustment to begin with is to kind of catch everybody up to where we're supposed to be.
Right.
And then the merit is that is a council decision,
Okay.
what the merit pools should be. And that'll be addressed at the budget, during the budget discussions. Okay, so motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Another component, I'm on the fourth component, has been hiring placement. And I think another tool that we would like to address is to be able to allow and give some discretion for the department heads or the hiring managers to place people and recognize experience coming in from another organization, and that's relevant experience. I think there have been instances where people with high levels of experience have been placed into entry level or maybe not recognizing all of the experience. And again, the motion I'm going to make is it's a formula that the staff and Evergreen, we had some conversations about it, and I think it's a best practice that's used out there. So I move to recognize up to 1/2 of relevant work experience of new hires and to give discretion to place new hires accordingly up to a maximum of midpoint within a pay grade and scale.
I'll second it and put it on the table.
Any discussion?
So then this just applies to new hires, as I'm hearing it, correct?
Yes. And if
Okay.
there are any adjustments, I think the idea was they'd be addressed on any kind of a case-by-case basis. I think some of them
Okay.
a lot of them have been addressed, but if there are any vestiges that we need to address, we can do that. But yeah, this is for new hires.
Okay.
Does that also help you, chiefs?
Great question, so very thankful for everything. So it helps us with new hires for sure. Our incumbents, we have quite a few that are less than a year, some, less than 3 years and et cetera. So I'm not sure how that would affect compression as we move people along the scale. I think we could have some compression challenges if we do not extend that to our
To
incumbents.
existing.
Yes, ma'am.
And just for the record, I think the intention is to address the existings. So that would be highly unfair if somebody just got hired in and then they missed the window. So I would encourage that we address somebody that.
Right, yes, sir. So if that's addressed, I want to make sure that we take care of the people that have shown loyalty to our organization over a period of time. And
Understand.
we reward them and then don't create unnecessary,
Inequities.
yeah, correct. If that's being addressed, then that will take care of that.
But that's not being addressed here. It would be addressed on a case-by-case basis going forward. Is that right? I mean, as you look at the study and you're going through the allocation of the funds.
Yes, we would need to.
Correct.
Once council has kind of made their direction clear, there would be some of this type of cleanup stuff that we would
Okay.
need to internalize, look at, be sure that we're dealing with any inequities that, but we would certainly need to address that.
And then come back to here, or come back to council with it or whatever.
Well,
right?
if there's an adjustment in the amount that needs to happen, we would bring it back to council.
Okay.
If there's some need that, and I think that we have some indication of how expensive this would be to make the adjustments for the pre-existing employees, but we need to be sure that we have that accounted for and budgeted for.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, a motion and a second. Any other further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. The fifth one on the docket here is the overtime policy and process. And the recommendations here, that we've had, I think, some variations of how overtime has been applied, and, you know, it's not completely structured or highly documented. And I think that the recommendation from Evergreen was to ensure that there's, you know, equitable distribution, that it's documented, trackable. We can also use it for staffing purposes. If we're running, you know, enormous amounts of overtime, that would indicate maybe that we need to hire additional people. If it's event-driven, things of that nature. But the recommendation was that we put some additional structure in place on that. So I move that IOP adopt an updated, structured, and documented policy for overtime assignment and tracking to ensure fairness, compliance, and assist with personnel planning, to be created by staff working with Evergreen and presented to the administration committee for review.
Second. Great.
Any discussion on that?
Only thing I guess I would like to ask is that this be on kind of a future track. I mean, I'm hoping that, I don't think that we'd be able to get this done in the next.
By council?
Right.
This is not a.
Kind of
yeah. There's a time horizon for
Okay.
that one. Yes,
Yeah, we just
absolutely. No,
wouldn't be
this,
able to-
this is going to take some, I think, work.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So you can't get it done by the end of
Not
this
by-
month?
No, but
Okay.
No,
I
not
think
30 days.
1, 2, 3, and 4, those are sort of policy and budget items. I think those can be implemented quite quickly. Would you agree?
Yes.
And I'm assuming from the police and fire chiefs that it would be sooner the better.
Yes, sir.
And then 5, I think, is gonna, that's more of a policy creation and process review that might take some time. And the next 2, these are also no expectation that these be done immediately, and just some conversation about that. These next 2, there's no motion attached to them per se, but I think that it was shared that, you know, again, this goes to the whole sustainability, that we shouldn't wait a year or 2 years for market or peer reviews. We should go out to the marketplace. And there's been talk about, you know, every 6 months or so, we pick some positions, we do some formal, informal reviews. There's a number of ways that we can go about this that would kind of keep us, you know, our eyes and ears out in the marketplace to make sure if there are any shifts. And I think the way it was described to us too is, and I think this is pretty typical, if you see any key movements in certain positions, we want to understand, you know, is it a pay issue? Is it a cultural issue? Is it a, you know, some other outside event issue that's driving our folks to turn over? And to make sure that we address that as well. So this is more of a recommendation instead of a motion that we do that. And maybe we talk about this during the budget cycle as well. And then we did receive some, I think, quite a bit, the next one, number 7, the performance appraisals. For those of you who may not be aware, we've got an 7 or 8 page, 21 category performance appraisal form that is quite cumbersome, I would say, incredibly redundant, and kind of lacks on some of the quantifiable weightings and things of that nature that might be helpful. And I think the talk there was a 2 or 3 page form where there's, you know, the classification categories of the important metrics and measurements that we should be keying in on our employees. You know, that might streamline it. And also, I think I had one key department head say that he'd put about a month back on their calendar. So maybe we can get that streamlined over the course of the next several months. Any feedback from chiefs on that or anybody, or?
No, sir, I agree. I think we've talked about it. I think since Janice has been here, looking at our annual evaluation and redoing it. So I think this is in line with that.
Great.
Okay, just one kind of closing comment, and I hope that council does talk about it. There's been an enormous amount of, I think, and for good reasons, we've had a lot of attention on the pay for the employees in the city here. One thing we did discover, and I think it's worth noting, that, there's been a lot of information about turnover in the city and that it's, the primary cause is pay. So we did ask the HR to provide the statistics on the turnover over the last 3 years. And what we found is that about 20% of the reason codes that were given for leaving positions on Isle of Palms was pay. So it wasn't 100%, it wasn't 50%, it wasn't 30%, it was more in the 20 to 25% range depending upon the organization. And we do have a lot of stability in certain organizations within the city, but I think that's worth noting, and I'm hoping that this is going to address that part of it, because we do want to make sure that we're competitive. But I think what this study also highlighted was that we have other things that we probably need to take a look at. Some are uncontrollable, like a retirement or somebody moving out of town or somebody going back to school. But if there are other components of why we're seeing, sort of a hot spot in the organization, the city organization pays a component, we're going to address it. But I think we need to take a look at everything holistically going forward too.
Do you think there's a possibility that some of the employees on the exit interview may be less than candid?
Councilman, I've given a number of exit interviews and I've participated in them. Usually on a one-on-one, depending upon the employee, they're very forthcoming. There's nothing to lose going out the door. And I think that the whole purpose of an exit interview is to help the organization if you're departing and be as truthful as possible so that you can help them, unless you've got some animosity towards that organization. But, pay is a component, health is a component, family is a component, travel. I mean, there are a number, but I see no reason. Some people just choose not to share, and I'm sure Janice can probably confirm that, but.
Yeah, it really depends on the individual.
Yeah. I don't know what the motivation would be to not say something unless you just chose, you didn't want to share. Yeah.
Maybe looking for a recommendation for the next job. So you go out peacefully as you can.
Yeah. Well, usually, again, the exit interviews are usually held with somebody not within the organization that you're departing from, so. But that, yeah, it's a good point. Okay. Are we good on that? All right.
Yep.
On to the next item in old business, B, review of the updated org chart. These next few, I don't think we need to spend a ton of time on today. But that was just more of a clarification. I think there was one position, the deputy administrator, that was updated. And I don't know if there are any other changes that need to be highlighted or anything.
I just have a few questions. And since we had the solution file, we're going through the wages. I did a comparison of FTEs and make sure we captured everything. So I just have simple questions. So is the building official the same as the building inspector?
Yes.
Okay, okay, thank you. And then in one part, I saw 2 business license clerks, but I only see 1 in the solutions file. Is
No,
there?
that one was added.
It was added? Okay.
There are 2.
Do I have this?
2
I
plus a
thought
short-term.
so.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that a new file that because it's not in the file I see.
The one I
Which is
sent to you.
I think that's going to be the updated one.
That's
When
what I
yeah,
sent.
when I refer to the motions, we just got,
I
just
sent
for
it to
everybody
you.
here, we got an updated file about a little while ago.
An
and-
hour ago.
Yeah, so
Oh.
we're basing the recommendations off of this. So
Thank you.
this-
Okay,
This
okay.
may move a bit.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
And that, we had some corrections, we had some missing, we had a missing individual, and so we want to make sure that when we go forward.
Oh, I might be coming through with the missing individuals here. I don't know. Public relations and tourism? Not on the org chart, or did I miss it?
That would be,
Under City
that-
Hall?
it's not on there, and I don't know if that's because it is partially a CVB funded, but it should be on here. And It is
Okay.
now, Public Information Officer.
Okay,
It's about half funded by the CVB.
Yeah.
okay. And then the last one, I was going through planning and zoning, and I don't see anybody for planning. Is that do
The
we?
Director of Planning?
No.
Yep.
Well, it's under the city administrator.
Yeah, that's,
So it's under, so it is an FTE
yes. it's
under you?
Correct.
Is it not on the org
There-
chart? or-
It is on the org chart.
So it just
Oh, I
has
didn't see
the
that.
city administrator as
Missed
the,
it.
as the department head there, which would change, I think. If it didn't happen to be me, it would be somebody else, but
Didn't we
as
used
I
to
was
have a
there
planning
previously.
director and a deputy administrator and a city administrator? I thought we had a planning, I thought your old position had a, that was a head count.
So I was,
Over that
I used to be two positions, and I'm still two positions. City administrator and the director of that department. On our org chart, it's two different.
Yeah, in
Two different-
MASC, you're listed as two. That's why I was confused with, is that an FTE? Are we filling that, or are you,
No,
No.
I mean, it is one FTE,
okay.
So you're doing two jobs?
yes.
Is that,
It's down
might-
two jobs.
okay.
Used to be more.
yeah, that's something, Doug, I guess I'm not, maybe this is a conversation for another day. I mean, as
Do you think it's in there twice?
No, I thought it was missing, so I thought maybe there was an FTE missing.
I'm
I
more
just
concerned
want-
about diluting your time.
And diluting your time, too, yeah.
I
That's
mean,
the well,
if we
that's the
had
other piece
if we had a
of it.
department head, would that be, I mean, the city administrators, I mean, I would believe to be full-time.
It is a full-time job.
So, yeah, maybe we take that up on
Yeah.
another time.
Taking another day, but, okay.
Okay. Any update, discussion on the code of conduct and ethics?
No, I would just say, this is with our city attorney.
Yeah,
City
the attorney has not changed anything.
Has
I
not.
thought, man, did I go to do a good job. He didn't change
Well,
anything.
Not that changes aren't coming, Bev, but.
Oh, I know they're coming.
Yeah, we've had them so busy with easements and
Okay.
MOUs that he's asked him to prioritize the other stuff. So hopefully next month we'll have a draft of an ordinance,
Okay.
but nothing has been updated so far.
So as far as process on this, can I just call him if I have some things to add or discuss with him as he's
Generally
looking at it or
just
not?
because it's very expensive.
That's why I'm
And we-
asking, yeah,
But if we get it to a point where
okay,
there's a conversation that needs to be had,
okay,
like he gets to it, he drafts it, he has questions.
okay,
At that point, we would direct the two of you to talk together.
okay.
Yeah, city council members have never been allowed to call the attorney.
Well, I just want to make sure, I see, look at me asking, say first, instead of asking forgiveness, here I
Well,
am, asking permission.
You're asking a question of them for your benefit that's the city's gonna pay for. That's why,
Well, it's not, hopefully it's all our benefit.
hopefully. But anyway, it's just, we've
Okay.
never allowed it.
That's cool, all right. So we'll just wait until,
Yeah,
Take us
wait
back.
till he's had a chance to kind of put some structure to the recommendations.
okay?
He may very well have questions, and at that point.
I think he
we'll put
will,
the
because
two-
he's missing an affidavit, so he's going to,
Yeah, and
There's
Bev,
a piece missing.
I don't know that we're all gonna wanna independently call our attorney all day, every day, but people do have direct conversations with
Okay.
Mac and stuff. I mean, it's not,
Okay.
it's not.
well, I'm going to wait until he gets, we get the red
Let him
line
get
back, and then we
into
can
it.
have some, and then
He
have
would
some
not have
good
enough-
conversation in public.
He would not have
Yeah.
enough time with the issue to even
Okay,
be able to talk to you at this point about.
Yeah, that's
the
fine.
changes.
okay,
But I think
Yeah.
he will in the next 30 days.
Great.
Because I have a lot of questions and comments about it, the way it's currently written.
oh, good, okay, so we can do that all at once then, great.
Yeah, maybe we can discuss our comments at the next meeting or
Yeah.
something. Or our internal ones here, yeah.
Okay,
All right. Discussion on procurement and purchasing procedures. If you're okay, I haven't really been able to spend a lot of time on that. We'll
Yep.
just keep it on the list
Yep.
and keep moving forward. I don't think we have any new business today, so pursuant to SC Code, to discuss city administrator's recommendation to appoint a new director of public works, I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session and have that conversation, and then come out and we'll go from there. So, move we go into executive session.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't forget about us.